What's going on, guys? Fost here, and I am back with another video. In today's video, I'll be doing an in-depth Gragas jungle guide. Gragas won the poll, as you can see, just barely this time. It was very close. If you guys want to vote for the next guy yourself, just make sure to hit the notification bell, since this will tell you when the polls are going up. You have 24 hours to vote in every single poll that I'm going to do, so make sure you vote for your champion if you want to see those. So with that being said, let's just get right into the runes. Now for the runes on Gragas, you have the main rune here, which is Predator. Predator is the main rune on Gragas simply because this just works so well with this kit. Every time you have Predator on this champion, it's pretty much guaranteed to be a kill. If not, you will get their summoners at least. And this has a very low, or this can get down to a very low cooldown, so you can use this quite often. So that's really why you want to get this. Like, I see some Gragas use Electrocute, which of course is going to give you a little bit more burst in general, but more so Predator is just overall pressure, overall the better rune really. So just go for Predator in this case. Now going on to the next one, you have Cheap Shot and you have Sudden Impact. Both are viable. However, I do prefer Cheap Shot myself, simply because you do have a lot of impaired movement, and this is just going to overall do a little bit more damage is what I've noticed, but Sudden Impact is just fine as well. So both of them will work. Now going on from there is Zombie Ward or Eyeball Collection. This is just going to be an elo difference really. So you want to get Eyeball Collection in the lower elos, or like anything below, I guess, like Diamond. I don't know where people really start placing enough wards. I suppose it's like Diamond 2-ish in that region. Everything below that, people just do not place enough wards for Eyeball Collection to be a thing. Or sorry, for Zombie Ward to be a thing. So then Eyeball Collection becomes better. However, in the higher elos, you're going to see so many wards. Like, it's actually insane. So in that situation, the Zombie Ward will provide you with more. So that's really the difference there. Now, Ingenious Hunter is another key rune here. This will lower the cooldown of your Predator as well. So having Ingenious Hunter is just going to make sure that your Predator is just up that much more often. This gives a significant CDR to this. Also, this gives a significant CDR to other active items like Zonias. So Zonias will also be a core item if you want to on Gragas, if you're going for this rune, which you are because of Predator. So to further enhance the Predator thing here, it's simple. You want to just get the Cosmic Insight, since this provides you with even more item CDR, and just going with that, your Predator is going to have a very low cooldown. So again, every single time you have Predator on Gragas, you're pretty much guaranteed to get a kill. So getting this combination right here will just lower the cooldown by so much that you will just have a lot of like kill pressure / gank pressure going for you. Now, to follow that up with another rune, you obviously please do not get Magical Footwear if you're going Predator, because then you will only have your Predator active at about like whatever minutes in game, like 10 minutes, 12 minutes, wherever you get these boots. So you're pretty much wasting your entire early game with Predator, and that's definitely not worth it. So please avoid that. Try to keep note of that. The one you just want to get is Perfect Timing, simply because this will just go down by takedowns, and Perfect Timing will build into a stopwatch as well, being one of your core items. So stopwatch will then or Perfect Timing here will just be the rune you want to take. Now for the runes here, you have the attack speed option, just to help your clear jungle really. Gragas struggles a little bit in his early clear, like level 5-ish, because after that he just starts AoE and camps down like it's nothing. But in just the start of the clear, this helps you out a significant amount, and this will just be the most valuable one over just a little bit of extra adaptive force. Now you want to get adaptive force here for some extra damage, and then the defensive is armor or magic resist depending on what you are facing on the enemy team. You can of course also get health if their damage is very hybrid based. So that's really it for his rune setup. If you guys have any questions on this, make sure to put those in the comments below, and I will go into the item build now. Right, so for the item build on Gragas, we have the Hunter's Talisman with a refillable potion, and then initially the Warding Trinket, which you want to place defensively for yourself or offensively on the enemy. Really whatever you want to get some vision going in the early game, and then go and get a Sweeping Trinket or the Oracle Lens. The reason you want to get this after like the first back on the 50 seconds, you want to get this simply for the effect that you could potentially invade with it, or gank, or anything of the sorts. You will know if you're walking over vision, so you know if you have to play around that, or maybe not make that play at all because of the vision. So having an Oracle Lens as a jungler is very, very valuable, and that's why you just want to pick this up as soon as possible. Now, going from here, for Gragas, it's mainly just your initial thing with Predator is you always want to rush these boots no matter what. Just get your boots of speed as your first back every single time. So usually you'll back with more gold, of course, but even if you would back with like 300 gold, just make sure you buy boots of speed, because this will allow you to use your Predator, and that will allow you to start going for ganks and going for aggressive plays. And this will just keep the ball rolling, really. And that's really why you want those boots. Now, you can use a clear to go for these boots. You can use like a 3-camp clear, then reset and go for the boots, and then start ganking already. However, in this meta, which I'll get into in a second as well, it's not that optimal. So, yeah, that being said, either way, the boots are the rush item here. And going from there, it's pretty much just getting to the Blue Smite Runic Echoes. You can also get Red Smite Runic Echoes if you want, but I just find Blue Smite to be a little bit more effective, since this will allow you to use the body slam, or like land body slams more effective, land barrels a little bit easier. So overall, they would help a little bit more there. However, if the enemy is very duel based or very like dueling heavily, and they start to have a lot of damage on you, then Red Smite could also be very valuable to reduce that damage. So that's really here. Boots on Gragas, I just go Sorks pretty much every single game, since Gragas does a lot of damage. Honestly, he has a lot of base damage. And just getting that extra magic pen is just going to give you a significant amount of damage on the enemies. Now, going from here, the core item for Gragas, with the fact that you have Ingenious Hunter, is going to be Zonia's Hourglass. Now, the reason this is a core item is simply because your Ingenious Hunter and also the Cosmic Insight will reduce the Zonia's cooldown by so much. Like, you can probably get half the cooldown or something. I don't know the exact number, but it's like a significant reduction. Where you can just play very aggressive Zonias all the time, and that's just very, very good. So you can definitely just go for the first engages a lot, use your Zonias. It will have a very low cooldown, so you can do this quite often, and that's why this is valuable. Now, another item you can look to get before your Zonias, if you're doing really well in a game, you can opt to go for the Nullif or the Oblivion Orb, to get double Magic Pen to really push your like damage through on the enemies and just start one-shotting them completely. So this is a very valuable buy that you could opt for before Zonias. So this is really a core build right here. This one isn't even that necessary, but the main core build right here is this. Zonias is going to be extremely worth it, extremely valuable, simply because you already have Ingenious Hunter and Cosmic Insight. Now, moving on from this situation right here, you have quite a few paths to go into when it comes to AP items. You can play a more supportive style of Gragas at this point if you are not getting the kills, really. If your team is getting the kills, you want to kind of support them. You're still going to build damage and you're still going to build AP to do a good amount of damage, but you're going to be a more supportive build to where you can do the engages, be more of the front line, be all that type of stuff. It's really like, yeah. You can also opt to then go for more damage if you notice that you're going to have to carry the game. So then you would opt to go for like a Death Cap with a Void Staff. Something like this. You just get high AP values. Even a Lich Bane could then be worth it for Gragas, simply since you will definitely get the auto attack off with your W alongside Lich Bane, will give a good proc. So if you're really going pure carry style, a build setup like this, going like Death Cap after your Zonias into a Void Staff Lich Bane, will then work out for you pretty well. Now that's very offensive. However, if you don't want to get the Lich Bane, which is understandable, you can opt to go for the Banshee's Veil as a defensive item as well later on to be even more tanky and annoying to deal with. You have the Magic Resist here, you have the armor from this, and then you have the Zonias active alongside the Spell Shield from Banshees. It's just going to be a very obnoxious build. You're still going to do a significant amount of damage here, so that's very, very good still. Now, if they have a lot of healing on the enemy team, another item that you could pick up alongside the Oblivion Orb upgrade that would make into a Morello, which is going to be very valuable into people that are building like Death's Dances or just champions in general that tend to prey more on sustain. So think Vladimir, Kane, yeah, just anyone really that builds the Death's Dances are going to be building more towards sustain. So then Morello would be a very valuable item as well. This could be in the supportive style, but also in a damage sense, since just healing reduction will do a lot. So a build like this could very much make sense as well. Now, if you're going pure supportive style, which is fine, you can still opt to go for the Morello if you need the healing reduction. You can also just go for Zonias into Banshees, making you really annoying to kill, like actually super annoying to kill. Also giving you a little bit of CDR alongside with it. And then you can, obviously, if you don't need this for the healing reduction, then you don't get it. But you can get this sooner or later here to get healing reduction on the enemy team whilst being very tanky. And then as a final item, you can do a couple things here. You can most likely in this situation, like especially if I would not have this, I would still opt to go for a Void Staff here, simply because I will still have quite a significant amount of damage to get through, and they will have a harder time killing me with these two defensive items, and the Void Staff will then put the damage through. Now, another great supportive item actually on Gragas is Twin Shadows. Now, this might seem a bit weird to you guys, but this will allow you to just make the engage really easily. Also, since you do have Predator, this is another active item, so the cooldown on this is greatly reduced from the Ingenious Hunter and Cosmic Insight. So alongside this item with Predator, you can easily make the engages happen. This works similarly to like getting like this cannon right here, but this is kind of a different approach really. So this will just send out some ghosts, and it will hit enemies, slowing them and revealing them. And if you use this along, so you activate this, then you activate Predator. You can also do it the other way around actually. Just activate Predator, activate this, and then just charge at someone you catch with the ghosts, or charge in the direction of where the ghosts are going, because they're going to the closest enemies. So this is a very actually helpful tool to be very supportive and engage heavy for your team. So this is actually a valuable item that you could pick up after like a Zonias. Pick this up, and this is going to allow you to easily make those engages happen without too many problems. Now, following this up, of course, if you're going this supportive heavy, then a Banshee's Veil is actually just a straight up very valuable item. You can also opt to go for the healing reduction if you need it again, just only for healing reduction, keep that in mind. So Banshee's Veil, and then you can finish this off with like a Void Staff or maybe a Death Cap, depending on magic resist values of the enemy team, to just still do a significant amount of damage to them as well. So, I mean, that's pretty much it for the build on Gragas. These are the variables you have, and yeah, overall, this support heavy style with the Twin Shadows and the active item CDR just allows you to catch people so often. It's actually disgusting. So you have a very support heavy option for more of a frontline tank type of situation, or a more damage heavy option if you're doing well and you need to be dealing more damage. So that's pretty much it for the Gragas build. If you guys have any questions on this, make sure to put those in the comments below. If you guys have enjoyed this video so far, please make sure to hit the thumbs up button as well. Helps me out quite a bit. And yeah, let's just get right into the gameplay section now. Alright, so welcome to the gameplay section of this guide. As you can see, I am playing Gragas, of course, into a Kha'Zix. Now, this matchup for Gragas, it's kind of either way. Because you can definitely cancel Kha'Zix's jumps or like leaps with your body slam, so you do have that going for you. However, if you get into a 1v1 situation with the Kha'Zix when he has like level 6 and onwards, you're gonna be in some problems. So unless you get far ahead, it's better to just try to avoid like 1v1ing him and just play it a little bit more safe in that regard. Alright, either way, so starting off the game, you want to start with the Warding Trinket, then place it defensively, is what I always do. I just place it defensively on my other buff. At about 50 seconds, you reset with it and you get Sweeping Trinket. Now, the reason you do this is simply for those junglers that try to cheese you. Because if the enemy jungler is going to invade you on your camp or on your side of the map, then they're always first gonna go for your buff camp. Like, it's very rare that a jungler would actually like invade you for your raptors or invade you for this. If your rep would be up, especially this early in the game, they'll make it their priority to invade your rep buff. So this is the safest wards you can place, because if you were to place it like here, for example, then you might see like a gank going for the mid laner, but that's about it. Because if the enemy has a dash or a leap, or maybe even walks this way without this being warded, then they could easily still invade you on your top side without you knowing about anything, and that could hurt you in your jungle clear. So I would prioritize your own jungle clear over maybe potentially avoiding one gank mid lane. That's the reason I placed the ward here. And yeah, so we get the Sweeping Trinket. Now, where would Kha'Zix start? He could start either side, so I just have to pay attention towards the map. Now, of course, this is replay mode, so here we can see he's on his red side, so he's probably starting red buff, but in the game, I don't know this. So, initially, you want to just start with your skills. By the way, you want to start with your W. The reason you want to start with your W is because this has the lowest cooldown, so this will overall deal the most damage to your camp initially. And then go into your Q for more AoE clear, and then your E. The reason for this is mainly because how it goes with your cooldowns. If you have the W lowest, then Q, then E. You can also take WE simply because if you want to invade, like the strategy of going for a buff camp and then you might see him do your buff camp, you could take E and take theirs or something like that if you want to if you really want to invade, but you have to be sure that that invade would actually be worth it, because your champion really starts to get going after level 3, so it's really not ideal to take body slam. But if you again want to go for a gank, go for an invade, something that has to happen, and you can take body slam as well, it's fine. Alright, so that, and we just initially you just want to clear, place your cast, like your Q, wait for it to charge up a bit for it to deal more damage, and then Q again, just W whenever you can. The clear for Gragas is pretty simple, as you can see right here. It's really not that big of a problem. Now here, Kha'Zix cleared pretty quickly towards his top side. This is very rare. Usually as Kha'Zix you see them more so full clear, because it's a more consistent way of playing on Kha'Zix, since Kha'Zix is a scaling champion. He usually doesn't tend to go for risky early plays, because that could cost him the game. And in this case, we see him get like half HP in this situation. I mean he has some pots running, but half HP Kha'Zix pretty much means that top scuttle is very contestable for me, so I have to keep that in mind after he did such a gank. So him doing such a gank for me is very, very, very good for me. Alright, here, I am not sure what he just did in this case. Like, that was really weird. He just took 2 turret shots, lowering HP to about 10%. Now, I'm not going to run away from my red buff without clearing it, but that situation pretty much just tells me that I can have top scuttle for free, which is really, really good. Like, getting the top scuttle here also will allow me to get the bot scuttle as well, unless he really sprints for it. The reason for this is Gragas uses Predator, and these boots of speed, if you just activate them whilst you're about like here, as you can see, he just opted to gank bot lane instead of rushing for crab, which is really a mistake on his part. He should have definitely opted to go for the crab, because now he's just going to fall very, very far behind. Now, the situation that might happen here is that my bot lane dies. That would be unfortunate, but in this case still, the Kha'Zix is going to fall so far behind of him just not farming his camps, not full clearing early, and opting to go for this first gank on Darius, that it's actually not going to matter whether he gets like the kills here or not. So he misses out on the kills, and that's pretty much already like costing him the game, really. Like, that might seem a little bit weird, but here I just activate Predator boots. And all you do, oh, by the way, if you activate Predator boots on Gragas, please make sure the full activation goes through before you press W, because you will cancel your Predator activation. And that really sucks. So just make sure you don't do that. Always wait for your Predator, go in first, run at them, use your W somewhere in between whilst you're starting to get close to them, and then just go on in melee range first. Also, another thing with Predator on Gragas is you want a Predator, walk up to them, get into melee range, then auto attack them, then eat them if you have the chance. You can also walk up to them, get into melee range, and then body slam them straight away. That's fine. But just make sure that you just, like, if I were to body slam from this range, that's really not what I'm looking for, because I could miss. He could flash, he could maybe dash that, because it's still quite like a reactable distance, really. So unless you really just are in melee range, as you can see, I'm just walking as close as possible right there. Pretty much meaning that he is unable to dodge my body slam at any situation. Now, my Nautilus is roaming here, and my Zed is roaming here as well. Now, the good thing here is, ideally for me, in this case, like, getting the kill onto me is okay, but getting the kill onto Zed into a Kali matchup is going to be very snowball heavy. So it's actually worth it for me to just, as you can see, I'm just going to like kind of stop hitting him at some point right there. I could have like W'd one more time probably and maybe taken a kill, but me just giving that kill, also providing assist money. So the overall value of the kill goes up a little bit. Like, you're not, as Gragas, playing as a fully hard carry champion, so actually getting some assists here and there really isn't that bad. And as a Zed that's fully based on damage and like the potential to 1v1 people, getting a lead like this is actually very, very valuable. So that's why I opted to definitely want to give that kill to the Zed wherever I can. And here, this pretty much just allows me, from the mistake he made of not like playing it a little bit slower as Kha'Zix and instead just ganking, and then I don't know what this was, I get double scuttle plus the kill on him simply because of my Predator boots. So this is a very like Predator heavy playstyle. You can use it in two ways. You can use it to play very aggressive and prioritize the ganks on it, but you can also use it, which is my preferred style of using Predator, especially on Gragas, you can use it more defensively, which means that you can focus on definitely just like prioritizing your clear a little bit more, getting the resources going for you, especially right now. Resource advantage as a jungler, like CS advantage, experience advantage is so insanely valuable. That's just straight out gonna win you games simply by winning in resource, like in CS. As you can see, currently I'm 28 to 12 CS, which is already a really massive lead. So as you can see, my camps are back up, so I definitely want to make sure that I start clearing those again. Now here, the reason I'm backing right now instead of finishing my clear, for those of you wondering, I want to turn my clear around and clear towards Dragon, if possible. Because what I think is going to happen is that Kha'Zix is going to do Drake soon at this point. Since as a Kha'Zix, like, I really like playing Kha'Zix myself. I know that I can easily do Dragons at level 4 to 5 if I'm like kind of slightly falling behind to help support my team a little bit more. Usually though, I would just be farming a little bit more, and then as level 6 hits, I'll do Dragons still. So the ideal here is I want to turn my clear around because I'm predicting Kha'Zix to be at like level 5 to 6 doing Drake. And yeah, for that reason, I'm going to clear down to try to contest it. Now, what I don't know here is, I told my Nautilus, by the way, to go and get vision on the Dragon because I thought that Kha'Zix was going to be doing it soon. I didn't expect him to just straight rush it. Like, he's still level 4. He can do it, but I didn't expect him to rush it because simply doing that just costs you even more as a jungler. He's already behind. So him doing that pretty much just tells me right now that he's on the bot side of the map, and I can easily opt to go and invade his top side. Or, like in this case, I see the situation going on in the mid lane, so it's like I may be able to gank this. She dies, Zed has the advantage. As you can see, the advantage, like the 1 kill advantage, turned into a pretty big snowball already. He got 2 kills on the Akali, one of them was with a Nautilus gank as well. But yeah. So the Dragon is literally what told me, like, alright, Kha'Zix is in his bot side jungle, and I can easily just opt to go for his top side camps. Simply because his red buff is spawning soon, and usually when the red buff is going to spawn soon, most junglers will not opt to go for their other camps. They'll just focus on the buff that's about to spawn. They might even wait a couple seconds to then clear that buff camp. So I can use this time and this advantage that I now know to clear his top side jungle camps. He currently shows mid. Now in this specific case here, by the way, I was going for this Gromp. However, I see the Wukong engaging my Darius. So I'm just going to go over the wall here and then just go for the Wukong instead of clearing the Gromp. Which is pretty obviously, you always want to react to your laners getting ganked or getting chased down. It's always worth more than one of your camps. If the camp is like 1 HP, then you could finish it, but in any other situation, if it's like half HP, if you don't have the smite to kill it or anything like that, just make sure you go help your laner, because it's going to give you way more, like, it's going to be a way bigger impact and potential 300 gold, or like preventing the enemy from getting 300 gold, all for just one camp that you could still get later. Now in this case, it's the enemy's jungle, so it's not a guaranteed camp that I can take, but it's still worth me taking the play on Wukong over the camp. Now I just want to instantly opt to go for the other scuttle, starve the Kha'Zix as much as possible. That's also why I invaded his top side, punishing him where I could for getting the dragon. The dragon by him, well, he got it. There's really not much I could have done about it anymore since I predicted him to do it later. But I can at least take like the camps from him in this top side to put him behind. It's all a resource game really, and if you can get ahead in resources as a jungler these days, you can easily just snowball a game out completely. So I clear my bot side again, I go back to my top side, quickly clearing through my jungle camps as fast as I can to make sure that I keep this going. Now I figured that since the Kha'Zix did his dragon earlier, the chances of him prioritizing objectives as a player would be very high. So I use the control wards that I buy, and I'm just going to place it on Rift Herald, since that's the objective that he can realistically get and contest at this point in time. So for that reason, I just, whether he's doing it or not, you can see it in the Fog of War, whether people are doing it by the way, but whether he's doing it or not, I can just place the ward over the wall to see him. And in this case, he was doing it, so my prediction to his play was correct. And that instantly forces him to back away, since my Zed actually got the priority. Now, the good thing about Predator here is, you see the position of this Wukong right now? He's completely pushed into the wave, and I'm currently here. Now, any other situation, if I were to walk up right now, Wukong would see me and I would never get there in time. But simply because I have Predator, I can just run up at like a lot of movement speed and this Wukong will not be able to get away from me. So he flashes my E there, which is a pretty good play for him. And in this case, I wanted to ult him closer to myself, since that was a good opportunity. But Zed gets in range and actually gets the kill, which is fine. Like, again, I don't mind Zed getting the kill. Zed is a very snowball heavy champion, so it's worth it to just get the kills there on Zed. It's not a problem. I'm still playing to look for that consistency either way. And I'm gonna check Kha'Zix's topside camps. Dragon will be spawning soon, but the thing to note here is my Predator boots are gonna be up soon again. And I do have the Rift Herald recall. So I have the time to take his topside camps. See if they're up. Gromp was up in this case. I can check if the wolves are up. I don't know this. So I will check, and the moment I see it's not up, I'm going to instantly reset, because the dragon is spawning soon and I want to be there. And then I'm just going to sprint towards the Drake as fast as I can. Now in this case, the Nautilus placed a ward, so I do have time to clear one extra camp, just because. If you have the time to place an extra camp, like mainly just like wait for them to push in, or wait for Zed to push the wave, for example, then you can clear one camp, stall a little bit of time, maybe clear 2 camps, even depending on how long it takes them to push the waves in. As long as you have vision, there is no way Kha'Zix would be doing it, so you would then have the time to clear 1 or 2 camps. Now, clearing those camps is pretty valuable, more than you think, simply because if this dragon fight or if the dragon gets contested and the fight happens, then there can be enough time to go over that fight. Maybe you die, maybe whatever happens. Enough time can go by to where those camps would have respawned, and those respawned camps would have a higher experience value. So simply for that reason, if you have the opportunity to clear 1, maybe 2 camps at that stage, it's worth doing. Now, of course, if your bot lane gets the prio after you assist ping the Drake or ping for Dragon, and your mid lane also gets the prio, and they roam, and you do not want to be doing your camps, obviously, because then in that situation you would be holding your team back of doing Dragon whilst they just created the pressure, and then they would be losing the advantage, really. So, yeah, now right here, I see the Zed get engaged on, so I instantly ping that I'm going to be on my way to the Zed, and I've just pulled my Predator boots, so I just come running in. Again, the melee range thing, I'm not on the right person here. Wait. Alright, so again here, we see that I initially wanted to dive bot lane, simply because diving bot lane is pretty easy, especially with Gragas. Like, you can just body slam them and just, like, ult them towards your team, and they will guaranteed die, and with Predator there's nothing they can do. I also have a stopwatch already, so that's pretty good. Or, well, already, I mean, I got it from the ruins, but yeah. So here I see the Zed get engaged on. I instantly prop my Predator boots, and I start using that. Right after my Predator boots activate, I press my W as soon as I get in range. And then I just walk up. I body slam, because I know where the Akali is. Like, I'm never gonna miss that. I'm pretty much in melee range. So I body slam her there, and then I ult her escape, and she will dash backwards and die. I use the Rift Herald mid here, simply just to get like some extra gold out of the Rift Herald. I wanted to go and opt for the Dragon. So me just pushing some of the mid HP down and giving myself a lot of extra gold is a pretty valuable play there. Now usually it is best to keep your Rift Herald and use it on like a 2-play turret, because then it's going to get executed. And that would be more worth it there for your Rift Herald value. But in this case, just getting the gold out of the Rift Herald I took is going to be very good. So that's what I'm going to do there. Now my jungle camps are going to be spawning again. As you can see, Gromp. Blue is going to spawn quite soon, so I'm going to just wait around for blue just a little bit here. And then I'm going to go and reset again. Now, initially I wanted to just go for my, for my camps again. I see the Zed, however, get into a fight in the mid lane with the Akali and the Kha'Zix. So all you really have to do at this point is use your Predator again. And this is why you can definitely defensive jungle as well with Predator, which is honestly a better playstyle currently. You can definitely just use your Predator for aggressive ganks and play out through the early game to just gank. However, with the experience changes Riot made and all that type of stuff, it's more worth it to farm up, get as you can see, DCS lead by punishing them for making certain plays. So you saw me punishing Kha'Zix for doing Dragon by trying to take his camps, and everything like that just adds up and adds up, giving you a massive level lead, and that's what's going to win you more games these days. So we see the play going on the Zed right here. I instantly see this. I'm just going to put my Predator to get there as fast as possible. And all I have to do is get into range right now. So I walk up here, As you can see, the Akali is right there. I body slam her, I land my W and Q, and she just dies. Now, of course, this Akali is 0-5, so it's a pretty easy kill. However, just me reacting to those plays every single time is what's giving Zed this lead and this pressure to create, like, a massive lead for himself, really. He's 6-0-2. That's off of getting the first kill, off of then being able to solo kill the Akali more easily, and me just reacting to the plays that need to be made. Now, I knew that Kha'Zix's top side, his blue would be up, so I just instantly opted to go and take that. My bot lane gets killed, unfortunately, but there's not much I can do about that. I see the Wukong going top lane right here, so I was like, alright, maybe get him. He unfortunately ran back quite far, and then just stopped right there instead of walking further back, which is a bit strange. But Zed actually follows this roam, and he's going to be able to finish that Wukong off. Now, I just want to pressure like the turret down here. I need to get the objectives going, pressure them out, and create the pressure into the Kha'Zix's jungle. The moment the outer line of turrets are down on either side of the map, so if you have top turret and mid turret, this jungle is yours. You live here, you don't let him get his farm. Your camps are pretty much a given. That's the way you gotta think about it. Because if they are in this position, the Kha'Zix will never ever be able to get to your camps. You would always have to prioritize his own camps. So if you can take his camps first and then take your camps after, if you even take your camps at all, if you just live in his jungle enough, then you can definitely still, that's also fine. But you need to make sure to deny him. If you can deny him his farm, he's gonna fall so far behind that he will not be able to do anything. As you can see, the gold difference between me and Kha'Zix right now is about 2,000 gold. Sure, I have a little bit more kills and assists. That's simply for Predator. That's literally because of Predator. Like, honestly, Predator allowed me to get a lot of these situations or a lot of these kills for me. And I have a massive CS lead on this guy. Like, this is a really big CS lead, mainly because it's just jungle camps, right? So every jungle camp's worth about 4. Sure, some lane CS here and there, but take that out of the equation. Like, every jungle camp's worth about 4, and I approximately have a 40 CS lead. It's a little bit less, but that's like 10 camp advantage. That's big. I'm currently 2 levels up on this. I'm almost level 11 as well, actually. What is he? Can I see? He's almost level 9. So I'm pretty much 2 levels up on that guy. That's big. That's the way you really win your games these days as a jungler. Just playing like that. Alright, so again here, using the effect of Predator. I see the fight going on here. I instantly prop my Predator. It has a long duration, so you can close a massive distance with it. And this will allow you to then get into the range of Wukong. As you can see, I'm getting into melee range first, making sure that my body slam is unable to miss. And then I just kill the Wukong right there with the ultimate, locking him in place. You can use your ultimate, by the way, to ult people towards walls. This kind of CCs them because the knockback effect still happens into the wall. So it's a little bit of a CC that you can think about. Now, of course, you can use your ultimate in multiple different ways. Ultimate is pretty much the most difficult mechanic Gragas has, so if you can master that, you pretty much have the champion down, really. Alright, so, actually... So this fight happens. I see the Kha'Zix running up, as you can see right here. I'm just gonna make sure that I clear the wave, push this wave out wherever I can. I see him there, he's gonna walk into this brush, so what I'm just gonna do is... I'm just gonna body slam towards the brush, because if he tries to leap me, then he will get body slammed and his leap will get cancelled. And I have Zonia's or stopwatch here to still make this happen. Now in this situation I probably overestimated Kha'Zix's damage, honestly. And stopwatched for probably no reason. But the thing here is I already have enough gold on my next back really for the Zonia, so I might as well kind of use the stopwatch even if it wasn't necessary. Now here you might think, why didn't you finish this camp? Well, dragon is spawning soon, and I definitely want to make sure that I get towards the dragon in time. Playing for objectives is a big thing. Resource game, like the resource game as a jungler, is the biggest thing to play around, and is the biggest win factor. If you can consistently play for resources, and play for the counter gank situation as a Gragas, especially because your Predator and your ganks are very, very strong, then you will definitely find yourself winning a lot of games and getting big leads. Again, I do have time for a single camp in this situation, and then I just want to opt to go for a bot lane and look for a play here. Is red spawning, so I can definitely pressure his red out and then do dragon right after. We see the Kha'Zix, however, going bot lane. So the Nami shows up here. I smite the Nami for the kill, apparently. And then I go and flash auto attack him. He dies, and yeah. Zed gets the kill. So at this point, we just go for the dragon, play for the objective game, see what I can get. I'm just gonna take, again, a lot more farm, keeping the farming going. It's a very key aspect here, because as you can see, I'm currently 3 levels up on this guy. I don't know where his experience is at. Yeah, I'm pretty much 3 levels up on the Kazakhs, which is massive. That's such a massive lead that's just disgusting, honestly. Again, checking his top side for camps, because I want to make sure that I keep denying him wherever I can. Now, he took his camps in this situation, so that's a little bit unfortunate, but yeah. So they engage on my bot lane dies, and I just kind of come in from behind. Now, as Gragas, you don't really have to worry too much about landing your Q initially on specific targets if you have your ultimate up. Gragas' ult can easily be used to combo people into your Q. Now, the way to do this is mostly by landing your body slam first, because this will CC them in place. Of course, if you can land your ultimate just straight out, then that's fine too. But as you can see, I placed the barrel here, and I can engage on this guy. All I really have to do is land my body slam and ult him towards my barrel, and he dies. I can also straight up ult him towards my barrel if I know he doesn't have leap, which in this case he doesn't. So I'm pretty sure I know he doesn't have it. But you can easily see, alright, here I do the body slam instead. So I body slam him, leaving him stunned, allowing me to get a free ultimate off. And then he's gonna get ulted into my barrel, and I can proc my barrel off that. It's a small combo that takes a little bit of practice on Gragas, so you have to make sure that, like, you can practice that in practice tool, honestly, with the target dummies. Just get a feel for how your ult knocks people back and all that type of stuff, and then you should be able to get that down. It's a very easy trick, people don't expect it. So if you use it on like an AD carry or like any team fights, if you have some damage, you can easily just try to one-shot them that way. So Kha'Zix definitely did not see that one coming, and yeah. Alright, I wanted to go on the Akali there. Fortunately, did not have enough damage. Now, in this case, I just simply for resources, I'm currently higher XP value than this guy. He just did level 13. I'm level 13, but he's a top laner and I'm a jungler. So just keeping the resources up and taking Kha'Zix's resources as well allows you to just like contest. As you can see right here, I'm just like trading, poking. Wukong is a pretty broken champion currently when it comes to just fights in general. So it's pretty scary fighting a Wukong, and you can definitely lose to that guy. But in this case, I was fairly confident I would have enough damage, even without my ultimate, to outplay him. So yeah, I barely killed a Wukong here. Like, it's very close. Wukong is a very scary champion, so just keep that in mind. Now here, my priority is just to get some camps wherever I can. Make sure that I quickly clear this and get my experience value. Just keep that up, keep the farm going. A very essential thing here. I had so much gold that I was actually able to pick up a full item there, which is pretty massive. And again there, keeping the farm going, checking for Scuttle. Now the problem in this specific game mainly was, I do remember that we split out too much at some point. And just started dying. Like, from playing this very clean and getting a massive CS advantage. As you can see, I do have more farm than my solo laners. But mostly what you have to notice here is the farm difference between me and Kha'Zix. That's the most important factor. Just the farm from the rest of the game does not matter. It's between me and him. And off of this playstyle, off of the more defensive Predator playstyle, like you can easily use that on Gragas, you still have a lot of gank pressure, and they still have to be scared of you, whilst you can prioritize your farming just a tiny bit more. Alright, so using Sweeper, trying to look for situations, go for the bot inhibitor in this specific case. I don't want to play this too aggressive. I can definitely ult right there, ult Nami closer towards the team. Those are the types of ults you kind of want to look for. You want to look for a position where you can like use your ult to your advantage. You of course do not want to be using your ultimate to try and ult the enemy's tanks towards your carries, because that's definitely not going to end up well for you. But if in this situation specifically, I can easily opt to ult the Nami closer to the team, and she gets hooked. I press Zonias just to simply try to dodge as much of Wukong's damage as possible, and right here I just want to back away. Alright, right here. This is pretty much just me waiting for a position to go in. I see the Kha'Zix leap in, I just body slam, I go in, hit them. Wukong dies to AoE damage, and right there the Kha'Zix dies. Also, one other thing that I did not mention, you can body slam somebody and at the same time pretty much press your Q on top of them, and it's gonna like do the same, like the animation at the same time. So your barrel will land when your body slam lands, so you can pretty much guaranteed land your barrel if you land your body slam. It's a small thing with Gragas. So always try to use W first and then go in with body slam and then use barrel at the same time. Land your auto attack. You can proc your barrel instantly if you want. You can also wait a tiny amount because they do get CC'd. And I'm just gonna go and opt for the Drake again. I do have some camps that I definitely want to take here. I have the opportunity now because the map's kind of resetting at this point. So I can take 1/2 of my jungle and then base. Now the main plan here would be to just group with multiple people because we do have a massive gold lead. As you can see, it's like a 10k gold lead, a little bit more. So or actually an 11 to 12k gold lead. So all we would really have to do at this point is just group 5 people. Honestly, my bot lane is pretty useless. My Darius is okay. It's mainly me and Zed currently. So if we just play together right now, that's the best play we could do. We could make. Now, yeah. However, as you will notice, the Zed is splitting a little bit too hard here. He gets killed. Then I decide to go and try to fight the Wukong, which, even though he might not be as ahead as me and he is 4 and 8, this champion is pretty broken. So he actually just straight up ruins me and then his team reacts and we get ruined even further. So we kind of split off just again too much. This was my fault, of course, in this situation. I just got kind of complacent, I guess. And I get punished for that and I die. So we kind of just, again there, they fight top lane, 3v, whatever. We just made like a continuous lapse of judgment, really. We just made too many mistakes, and right here me and Zed are like, alright, we're pretty strong, I suppose. But then again, it's Wukong and he pretty much just one-shots the Zed straight out the gate. So Zed gets deleted by Wukong and I just get punished for that right afterwards. So again, with the not fighting as 5 is a big problem there. And at this point I just type in chat, alright people, let's stop trolling and just get our act together here. Now they got, as you can see, they were 39k and off of just a couple minutes they got 10k gold and they caught up by like 6k gold on us. So that's a pretty hefty mistake that we still are ahead, but you can never make those. That's just very sloppy. And again, also my bad for getting just a little bit too complacent there. Now our objective here is of course getting this dragon. If we can just prioritize to get this dragon, we'll get the soul, and that's getting a soul from a mountain or just any soul in general is pretty much GG. It's really hard to lose from that point. So just play it slow and go for that. Now here. Alright, we see the Zed get collapsed on, so I just go over the wall, one-shot him, just do whatever I can, land my ultimate to be as disruptive as possible while still dealing damage. Pressing my Zonia, stalling time, and then right here I barely don't get the body slam on the Kaisa there, but the Misfortune gets a quadra kill. They focused me heavily in that fight, which is fine. Like, I don't mind dying in those situations. If my team is able to win the fight and if I die like that, that's perfect. That's really no problem. I'll take it. It's fine. So in this case, I pretty much trade my life for the winning team fight, a quadra kill on Misfortune, and then also the dragon pickup, allowing us to get Mountain Soul, and that should be pretty much game over. What we really have to do now is just group one more time and push out, and then we should be fine. So me just waiting for people to get back onto the map here, actually. Oh no, in this specific case, I do have enough money for my death cap, so I definitely want to just pick that up right before the next final fight. I do have quite a lot of AP here at this point, and the healing reduction is really going to help in this case against their team, because they are pretty heavily healing based. So just getting a Morello here is very valuable. And just like this, I will be able to disrupt them heavily. And yeah, now using Predator to my advantage here. Again, my team kind of, or my Darius rather, kind of just made the mistake of just walking solo whilst we weren't on the map. One of those mistakes that I just mentioned earlier you should be avoiding, but he in this case wanted to go and fight. He gets very close to actually just winning this. If he would have landed his Q on one more target there, he would have been fine. However, Kaisa now picks up a double kill. Now the thing here is, just having Predator, as you can see I already activated it from a pretty big distance. I'll have 544 move speed in this case to catch up to the Kaisa, so she's never actually going to get away. And the Nami is also going to be about here. So really all we have to do right now is just get in range. I just ult that brush because I figured that they would be in there. And in this case, I just opt to go for the Nami, simply because I know that my set will most likely kill the Kaisa and Wukong fairly easily with Nautilus together. So I can just opt to go and get this Nami without too much of a hassle. Pick her up, and right now we can just end the game, really. So we just push one more time, Azonia Akali, or get the kill on Akali and end the game. So if you evaluate the end of the game stats, as you can see, just focusing on my opponent, nothing else, I got the dragon advantage over him eventually, but that's also a little bit because of my mid laner, so he was a little bit ahead off of me, giving him kills in the early game. He was able to snowball that, which is very, very nice to see. Now, the CS advantage is pretty noticeable here. As you can see, I'm about, what's that, like 50-ish CS up on him. This is, again, mostly valued towards jungle camps, so 50 CS is 4 CS per camp. So I would have a pretty big camp lead on that guy. So just like playing a more consistent game right now with Predator. You can use your Predator to react to plays or to react to situations where the enemy's laners are overextended, which is a more consistent way of playing the game. And then if you can just farm really fast, which Gragas is really good at because he has so much AoE damage, and just punish the enemy jungler for plays that he makes, so punishing, taking his camps, this is such a valuable way of playing, because as you can see, I'm currently level 17 at the end of the game, compared to Kha'Zix's, whatever he is. I can't even see it, actually, wait. What level is this guy? He's level 15, so I pretty much had a consistent 2-level lead on him throughout the game as soon as, well, actually, yeah, throughout the game, really, because it started pretty early for me getting double scuttle off of a certain play. And yeah, this is just what the farming advantage does for you. Of course, I made a couple mistakes by like dying solo here and getting a little greedy, getting a little too complacent there. But just a very overall well outplayed game, and this is the way you really want to play it. This is also just the way you want to play Gragas. Just play to disrupt team fights, play to gank, counter gank where you can. Use your Predator to your advantage, get into melee range before you use your E. And that's about it. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this guide. If you guys have learned anything from it, please make sure to hit the like button as well. If you guys have questions at all on anything Gragas related, or just anything in general, really just put it in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer those questions for you. And yeah, just subscribe for more videos in the future, I suppose. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!